Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Outrageous Kindness podcast. My name is Andrea, and I'll be your host today. And today, my guest is a result and performance coach, life strategist, Reiki master, Tantra yoga instructor, fifth generation shamanic healer, and founder of the Wild Woman Sisterhood. Welcome, Marika. What's up?
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you. It's so nice to be here with you.
Thank you for being here. And I'm very excited for this interview because you have so many expertise and you are so much an expert about things that I really love. So let's start from the beginning. Where are you now?
I'm in Queensland, Australia.
What are the things that are exciting you like to do the most?
Oh, it's a beautiful country. I don't know if you've been to Australia before, but it's just stunning. There's beaches, there's rainforest, there's desert, there's as well. So it's a great place if you like nature, if you like going out into nature and just exploring a little bit. There's something in every corner of Australia. It's really beautiful. Queensland's great for surfing, sailing, things like that. I spent the last 10 years of my life sailing on maxi race yachts in the Whitsunday Islands.
I love it.
Yeah, it was a dream come true.
Amazing. I love it. Why are you keep on doing sailing, or is that something that you do it often, or is something that you do occasionally now?
Oh, I love sailing. I just haven't had much of an opportunity to do that lately.
Okay.
After COVID, it really dropped the tourism market in Early Beach with Sundays. So I was working on overnight yachts, sailing the maxi race yachts that used to do the Sydney to Hobart races. And I was taking 30 passengers, 30 backpackers with me every 3 days. So it was really beautiful.
Wow. It sounds so exciting. Sounds so exciting. Probably next time. Probably if you do something like that again, I will be your customer. Please let me know. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, I'd love that.
And so let's dive into what you do, because I'm really curious about expanding on that. So I can see that you are a result and performance coach, but you also have your approach seems like a holistic approach to coaching. So I would like to expand not on the idea of holistic coaching. I want to expand on your kind of holistic coaching, holistic approach.
Okay, no worries. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. For those of you that haven't met me before, my name is Marika Nayan. Something you may not know about my lineage is I was born into a family of modern medical professionals and holistic healers. 20 years ago, I found myself isolated from my family, engaged to an emotionally unavailable partner, and living in one of the worst suburbs in Sydney. I struggled with so many different feelings of depression, anxiety, hopelessness. I had trouble relating to the educational system, and the work that I was doing just didn't give me a sense of purpose. I drowned in hopelessness, yo-yoing in weight gain and weight loss while I was working mundane jobs to pay the bills and also trying to work out what my purpose was in life. I ended up isolated in abusive and damaging relationships, trying to find a deeper connection within myself. And I was stuck in frustrating loops of depression and my own lack of purpose. And I was convinced there was nobody who could understand or help my situation. 12 years ago, in pursuit of a greater sense of freedom and happiness, I made a decision to change my life, and I just took a leap of faith. I distanced myself from the concrete jungle, the city, and I moved to the beautiful state of Queensland, Australia. I found myself living in Early Beach, a tropical paradise where I met so many travelers from all over the world with incredible stories. And I was just being paid to sail through the beautiful Whitsunday Islands every day while working as a deckhand on maxi race yachts. And all this while spending most of my time at the purest beach in the world, Whitehaven Beach. So 10 years ago, I started my journey in healing my own trauma and self-limiting beliefs, focusing on doing my own inner work and integrating the lessons into my holistic lifestyle. Moving forward, I'm now an internationally recognized life strategist, taught directly under Benjamin Harvey, the founder of Australia's 2-time BRW award-winning company. I also have a bachelor's degree in coaching from the Academy of Applied Modern Psychology. And to further my knowledge on the unification of the mind, body, and spirit, I've been trained in Tantra Yoga on a mountainside ashram under instruction by the Ananda Margi nuns and monks, who also run many neo-humanitarian schools all across the world. So the women in my family studied directly under the first female medical doctor in the Philippines. Her name was Dr. Faye Del Mundo. She was only allowed to study medicine because they thought she was a man. Based on her name, Faye, they thought that she was a male. So she got accepted into doctor school and she was the first female doctor. And all of my family studied under her. Yeah, it did. And so the rest of my family, before the rise of Western medicine, their grandmothers were known as Manga Gamot, the shamanic medicine people, or witch doctors, seers, healers, and travelers. So I've inherited those same shamanic abilities from my grandmother and her grandmothers before her. I'm also qualified as a Yushui Reiki master, and with these skills, I continue to integrate my inherent ancestral healing abilities to facilitate change and transformation in others, and together remove the blockages holding them back from living a purposeful and happy life. I realized how important it was for me to work with people and impact their lives in a progressive way. So I started making space for clients to gain freedom by helping them improve their lives in transforming their habits. And during that time, I discovered there's a major problem in the world where people are leaving school early, totally confused about what they want to do, what they're meant to do with their life. And that confusion just carries into their adult life. And it expresses itself sometimes as mental illness, depression, substance abuse, and despair. And that's exactly why I decided to dedicate my life to helping people gain freedom back and transform their lives. Through learning processes to heal themselves under my guidance, I help them embody the healthiest and highest version of themselves. So essentially what I do with coaching is I help people transform their relationships with themselves and the world around them by pursuing happiness and making a difference, doing what they love.
Okay, that's great. Wow. Yeah, you give us a very specific idea about what you do, and I love that. Then at the end, we will actually go a little bit deeper on where they can find you, and I will put some links below the podcast and stuff like that. And I want to ask you something. Maybe it's a little bit private, but I think it is essential to ask. What was one of your limiting beliefs that was taking away your freedom when you were in that state of depression or sadness? What was one of the limiting beliefs that you can remember that you've overcame that was taking away your mental health?
That's an incredible question, Andrea. I actually feel like a lot of us have the same limiting beliefs. As I go through with the coaching, I realize that the soul woundings are that of the inner child. And a lot of us haven't quite worked through that, including myself at that time. And that's why looking back on it now, I can really see the message that I'm trying to put forward with people. Essentially, the limiting belief that I had that stopped me was that of not being good enough, of not being worthy, of not having the skills that I needed to help other people.
I see. And how did you overcome that? I mean, like, for somebody who's listening that is probably feeling not good enough, actually all of us in some area of our life feels like, yes, I'm not really good enough. I'm not sure if I can do that. I'm not sure if I can take this leap of faith, and where will I end up? Not sure about it. For somebody who just have this in their head, what was your first step?
My first step?
Yeah, to overcome that.
My first step was taking the first step.
Nice.
And that's
I like
just getting in there, just doing it, just starting, reaching out for more information, where I wanted to be, who I wanted to be, the person that I wanted to embody, and the qualities that I wanted to get me through. Just being able to focus in on that and pay attention to who my future self was, who my highest self was, and how they're going to collaborate in the middle and find each other and breathe life into both aspects, because there's so many different facets of the human persona.
That's right. I love it. I love it. Taking the one step at the time, the first step.
That's right.
The
Yeah, it's about
easiest
taking
one.
baby steps. Yeah, baby steps. It's,
Baby
you know, it's
steps.
not about taking the massive leap and jumping and ending up over there, but it's about just getting ourselves forward just a little bit at a time.
Yeah. So let's say you overcome that belief, not good enough. How do you maintain that? Is there
Okay.
like any habits that you need to do, anything that you constantly you need to pursue?
Absolutely. In my line of work, I come across a lot of scattered energies. So a lot of the people that come to me have all sorts of things just around them, and I sort of have to bring them back together and protect my energy as well, so that it's not just free flowing. So what I tend to do is I do a lot of clearing. So I tend to use a lot of sage. I tend to clear out my energy a lot with the elements. So I go to the beach all the time. I just immerse myself in the salt water and just be grateful for every minute that we have, because it's a chance to do something different.
Wow. Okay, love it. So like preserve your energy. Let's say being grateful and with the elements. Really
Yeah,
work
yeah,
with the
I love going
elements.
for a swim. Yeah, going for a swim, just floating in
Love it.
water, just releasing things that are stagnant, that are sort of bottled up and held inside, is one of the
Yes.
most important things, because I feel like a lot of people not facing anything that's actually there, and they just keep moving forward thinking as long as they keep running that it'll just be over there. But that's the problem, is it's always going to be over there. But if you don't focus on the initial woundings of the soul, if we don't look inwards at our own inner child and looking at the woundings that may still be unhealed, then it's very hard for us to move forward in wholeness.
Right. I love it. And I love the fact that you actually use elements. And I know that you have a business, but it's something that you do with crystals.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. I'll tell you a little bit about it. So it
Yeah,
kept me
please.
sane through COVID, actually, because when COVID hit, I stopped sailing and I was like, what am I going to do with my creativity? Because that's how I
Love
choose
it.
to function in the world, is in a creative process. And so I started making these necklaces, actually. I'll pull it up to the
Mm-hmm.
screen so you can see it a little bit better. So there's an example of one.
Okay, for the people who are just listening to the podcast, she's showing an amazing, beautiful necklace that you made it, right?
I did.
Wow,
I actually
love it.
handcraft them. So I designed the jewelry myself. I handpick pieces that really resonate with me. I clear the crystals before I start working with them, and then I handcraft them. So I wire them all by hand using just my hands, really, and a few different tools, like 3 different pliers. What I do with it is I infuse the Reiki energy after I've done clearing the energy from the crystals. I infuse them with Reiki energy and shamanic
Mhm.
healing energy. And that just helps a little bit of healing go towards that person's day, because I know everybody wants something shiny, something pretty, but not a lot of people want to put the effort or the money into taking care of themselves and healing. So that's my modality, is I make something pretty for you to take home and show off, but it's also going to heal you at some point. It's also going to be a healing tool. So it's a bit of a trap.
I love it. Love that. I love that. And stones and crystal have to be somehow recharged. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So crystals are a little bit like sponges in our kitchen.
Mm,
So they get
right.
dirty every time you use them. They accumulate a certain negative vibration to them. So they need to be cleaned out regularly. So what I like to do is I just hold it under
Mm,
running water. Again, it depends on your sign, your element, and what you resonate with. Some people
mm,
love to use sage or incense smoke and passing the crystal through it. Some people like to bury it. They must be very patient.
mm.
There's all different ways of recharging, including also putting it under the full moon.
Oh yeah, I've heard that one. Yes, under the full moon.
Very
Yeah,
powerful,
yeah,
yeah. You really feel the
yeah.
difference from just cleaning it to energizing it with the full moon.
Love it. Love it. So do you have a place where people can buy it? Because I ain't gonna buy one.
Oh, wonderful. I have to make you a special one. So all of
So
my
you,
jewelry
yeah,
can be found. It can be found online via Instagram. My handle is
okay.
at crystalcreatrix333. Or I've also got a shop on chooselifestrategy.com. There should be a shop
Yeah,
section there with
yeah,
all the
okay.
available pieces. I
Love
also
it.
do
Love it.
custom pieces. So if you have a crystal that you'd like just prettied up a little bit. I'm more than happy to revamp that and make you a very new piece.
Amazing. I love that. I love that. But I don't have any pieces here, so I'm probably going to buy one fresh one from you and
Oh,
made
perfect.
from you, your hands, your energy. I love that. Deal.
Beautiful. I'll make a
Okay.
special one for you, Andrea.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
okay. You talked about the 5th generation shamanic healer. Wow. And of course, shamanic healers use crystals. So you are like the real deal. Okay. So tell me, tell me a little bit this 5th generation. So you have relative who in your family was a shaman or shamanic healer?
So it actually comes from my grandmothers and their grandmothers before them. I try to trace back with my immediate family, but because they're all modern health practitioners, they're a little bit further away from the old ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But they remember their grandmother saying this to them and teaching them all of these different chants and incantations and ways of just being in the natural world and ways to process as well the different realms that we're in. So it just kind of stems back from all of the women in my family.
So I said you are the real deal, but you are the real deal for real. Okay, for sure, there are people who learn how to become a shaman, which is fine because at the end you learn how to become a shaman, but you have really connection, strong connection. Your family is a family of healers. Wow, nice. How do you use that approach in your holistic coaching?
Well, it really helps with me to identify what's going on with a client. I know that everybody perceives the world quite differently. So some people, they perceive it in an auditory way where they can sort of see things and remember, like photographic memories, for example. They remember what they hear, or if it's written down, or olfactory senses, things like that. But for me, having those abilities to tap into a client, to understand what's really going on in their energy field, not just what's causing them the sickness or the disease, as I'd like to call it, but also what is impacting their energy, where that comes from. So sort of where the blockages in their physical aura is, in their physical field. To be able to see that is such a big help. It really is. It cuts out a lot of the questions because I see a lot of what's happening with the client. So the questions that I ask them are a little bit more focused on the problems that they're facing rather than trying to figure it out more. I can sort of see it almost immediately. Like all I have to do is see a photo of a person and I can sense what's happening in their energy field. Someone was speaking to me about someone, I could also tap in then and sense what's happening in their energy field, how it's affecting them, where this stems from, whether they've got wounding in their ancestry, all sorts of things, really. Or whether where it comes from a past life as well. Sometimes it comes from a past life. And being able to see that directly, see visions of those things, it's very helpful in understanding how people carry their woundings in the modern age and how long they've held them for.
Absolutely. Wow. You know, doctors should be healers, should be basically people who feel, not people who just read on paper, on books, or on Google, but people who actually feel the kind of gut feeling on being able to feel the energy of the other is something that you develop. And there's somebody like you, for example, naturally, and some others have to develop it, but it's something that we all have because energy is energy. Everybody has it. The real doctor are those healer people like you, for example, that can really feel beyond the surface of somebody life.
Yeah, it's incredible what's actually possible within the healing elements of the body and the mind when the spirit is involved. A lot of people don't account for that, for the spirit and what part that has to play. People think, oh, it's just the physical thing, like, oh, I'm sick now, without even realizing what is the root of the disease. It's not like a ball that you just catch it. You have to be within those parameters to catch it. So your energy has to be at a certain level to catch that ball, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that I'm an open book then for you. You can feel, you know what's going on in my life. Okay, let's move to the Wild Woman Sisterhood. I love this topic. So, and the founder of Wild Woman Sisterhood, which is something that I would like to do it for men.
You
So
should. I think
tell me
men
about
don't
that.
have enough of that. I feel like men don't
Yes,
have enough of that sort of that connectivity, that brotherhood. I feel like a lot of men are still stuck in the toxic masculinity trap because their fathers or their grandfathers have told them, man up, don't cry, men don't cry, boys don't cry. And
exactly.
feeling isn't okay. So a lot of men are sort of disconnected from their emotions. And I find that they're a little bit kind of stuck in the old times of providing and fighting. The modern divine masculine is very aware of his divine femininity and understands without the male, there is no female. Without the female, there is no male. So it's a sort of half and half thing. I feel like that's new. It's starting to come out.
I love it. And one of the things I'm most passionate about is like, yes, bring it up the divine masculine. And the funny thing is, because people think, okay, yes, sure, I have to merge the divine masculine with the divine feminine as a starting point, of course. Focus on to develop the healthy divine masculine automatically, without even trying, automatically merge with the divine feminine in you and in others as well.
Yes.
So the thing is, you don't even have to do such a huge job like, okay, I gotta be divine masculine, but wait a second, I'm gonna dance a little bit more so I can be divine feminine. No, you can also dancing as a divine masculine. Okay,
Yes.
so and you can automatically merge with that part of you that is actually is always there, because the part of the intuition, what is that, is like divine feminine. So feeling
Yeah.
more, understanding more, using their emotion, understand the emotions, is something that is part of the feminine. So it's like using your divine base to actually support all the rest. So I love it. I love it. So tell me a little bit about this sisterhood.
Wild Women Sisterhood. I started it around 24, 25. And
Mm.
originally, I just made it as a platform on Facebook so that I could share wisdom with my friends, like just wild woman stuff, like wise women things. I just wanted there to be a platform so that I could share it with my friends and all of the women that I've sort of come across and I've been honored to practice with and learn with and journey with. I noticed that everyone seems to have the same sort of problems. And it all has to do with the self-worth. That was sort of a way for me to support the women around me in a way that I could create a nonprofit platform to empower women and bring them back to their own place of strength. And that way they could empower the women around them. And it's just like a domino effect.
Yes. And what was the difference between back then and now? How did it develop?
The difference back then was I was trying to help the people around me. It gained so much traction that we're up to like, I'm not even sure how many followers, but it's ridiculous. Actually, I had an ex-boyfriend of mine message me the other day and he goes, oh, my partner now follows your page. He goes, the page that I remember you setting up, I remember you telling me about it and I didn't think much about it. And he goes, you know, and then he said to me, thank you for giving the woman I love strength. Thank you for giving her power. And it was just exactly what I was trying to go for. Like for that to come all the way around. And it
Wow.
was just like, it was beautiful. It was so nice.
I love it. Like the highest achievement when your ex come back and say thank you for giving my fiance, my
Yeah,
partner,
it was
power to love
beautiful.
me. Okay.
It was so humbling and really rewarding to be able to see how that went all the way out. Like really, I'd never met this woman and it was just like, wow. It was beautiful to
Wow.
see that I could make a difference in someone who I've cared about's life and
Mhm,
keep on helping
mhm.
other people around them.
So where did you start that? On a Facebook group and then it expanded?
At the moment, it is on Facebook. I
Mhm.
have got a co-founder ask me if I wanted help with this, and she's in Byron Bay. She's the
Wow.
organizer and I'm the doer. Together, we empower the women, gather the sisters, so that
Love
they can
it.
be stronger versions of themselves and more powerful for the men that they're with as well, so that we can
Mhm.
all rise up together in power.
Yeah. Can a man follow?
Yes.
Are
Most
we
definitely
allowed?
a man can follow. Yeah,
Okay,
of course.
okay.
We're allowed to do
Okay.
anything we want.
Maybe I also send some exes of mine in there, right?
Yeah, okay.
So they can be empowered. That's amazing. I love it. I love what you're doing. I love actually the service that you're giving. You really are an expert on what you're talking about, on coaching, healing. Let's say I take everything away from you. Everything. All your groups, all your expertise, all your clothes, everything, all your house, everything away. Okay. So who are you at this stage? What is the first thing that come up from your gut?
Having something taken away from me has really made me focus deeply on what I'm doing, away from the distractions. And this is exactly the period I'm going through right now, of having things taken away. I'm also moving house, so everything is shifting. And it's just a greater reminder that life and everything that we have here is just a period of transition. So to do the best that we can in every space that we're in with the time that we're given is the lesson that I'm learning at the moment, is not to dwell on holding on to things or hoarding experiences or hoarding titles, but just actually understanding that we play a role for a certain amount of time to empower, to help people, to raise the consciousness of humanity as well. And once that's away, to not focus on what's been taken away. Nothing is really ours. We're only caretaking for a period of time. So even when we believe that something's ours, it was given to me to play with while I'm here.
I
And,
love it. I love that you
yeah.
say we are only, is the first time actually I hear that, this kind of metaphor. We are only caretaking. Yes, it's
We
true.
are.
It's so true. Wow, I love that. We're
So
only
the only
caretaking.
question really is, have I taken enough care while I was there? That's all there is to ask, because
Okay.
everything will leave us. Everything is a period of transition. What we have right
Okay.
now, it's to be appreciated, to nurture us, to nourish us, and to nurture the people around us and the world around us. And once we're done with that, we're given a new plaything, a new place to explore and to
Yes.
give and to receive and to make a difference.
Wow. I love it. I love it. And why are you here? Like you personally, why your soul is here?
My soul is here because I've reincarnated to do everything that I've done before, which is to be a medicine person, to be a healer, to be a shamanic facilitator, to just help people in any way possible, and to also have that in balance. So to have the balance of receiving as well as giving, not just until I'm empty, which is something that a lot of healers have issues with, is they continuously empty their cups until there's not a drop in there. I believe my soul to do
Yeah.
that, it's here to sort of to give, but also to remind people that the blessings are in receiving as well. Because if you give and give and give, then it really makes it worth nothing in the end, because you're left with nothing. So my soul is incarnated to remind people, to bring people together, to enlighten them, to empower them, and to bring the medicine of the old back into this modern world with a few shiny things.
Which I'll buy soon. Sorry, I say wow 1,000 times usually on my interviews. So with you, I say well like 2,000 times now. And thank you for expressing yourself, expressing your mission as well on Earth. Because me as well, I really think that everybody has a mission. I think the basic one is to grow, be free, and to contribute to others. Love, really. That's the basic one. Our job is being for you is as a healer, for me as a coach, or whatever it is, whatever will be in future. I'm really excited about this life. I'm really excited what's next, about the future of humanity and where we are going, because there are more of us and more light coming up. And let's keep up. Influencer of light or a
Absolutely.
caretaker of light, let's say.
Absolutely. That's what we're doing at the moment.
Exactly.
We're making that space for the others to come and shine their light.
Yes,
And that's why
yes,
I love
yes.
coaching, because it goes hand in hand with all of the different healing attributes to heal their body, their physical self, their mental self, their spirit self. It all ties together.
Now that you're bringing this up, creating space for others to come, more people coming in, more new souls coming in, souls that are ready, souls that we have actually a good space, souls that are ready to make a change, that are different, that I don't have much karma in the past, are ready to have this revolution of light. And so we are here to create a space for these souls. We need more people. So I have a few more questions related to the title of this podcast, which is about kindness. What is kindness for you?
Oh, I love that you're asking about kindness. Honestly, a lot of my clients, my main thing to teach them is to be kind to themselves. They're so kind to the world around them, but so many people forget to be kind to themselves. Like, you hand everything out. So it's the same thing as emptying your cup until there's not a drop left. You've been handing out all the droplets of kindness to the world around that we haven't focused inwards. I always used to say that my mission on this planet was to leave it better than the way it was when I came. And that was the only thing that I ever really wanted to do with my life, is to leave the space that I've inhabited in a better place than when I first entered. And that's how I feel with people as well. If I can meet someone and leave them in a better space with more kindness for themselves, with more love for themselves, with more humility and empathy for the world around them, that's all I really want to do. Nothing more than that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So that's my definition of kindness, is leaving the place better than it was when you first came.
Beautiful. Love it. I would
What's
like to have
your definition of kindness? I'd like to know.
My definition of kindness. Basically, to me, kindness is about unconditional love in action. Because if we think about conditional love, sometimes it's just a concept for people that they don't know how to grasp it. But if you're talking about kindness, being kind, that is something that I myself can grasp. So being kind with someone, being kind to myself, that's probably has to be the first thing. Not that necessarily saying I love myself, is just really do pamper yourself a little bit. Sometimes even hugging yourself. The more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it. So hugging yourself, no matter maybe how sick is this body, but it's still a body that is trying its best to be there for me, to be here for me. So even you start with the body, hugging yourself, and then you start doing the things that you like doing. You start to really work on yourself. This way, you automatically start to be kind with others, because kindness is kindness. So you have to start with the energy first. So of kindness in ourselves, kindness in others. And then you see is a ripple effect. So kindness is building up the energy of unconditional love, like taking things away, and then that's it. Fully embrace this unconditional love through act of kindness.
I love that. I love that. And kindness, you're right. It is a domino effect. I believe that so much. I remember this one time I was at a festival and a friend of mine lost the poncho. I really love this poncho. So I was really mad. I was so mad that he lost it. And I couldn't release the emotion. Eventually I found out, I released it, and I was like, okay, wherever that thing went, it's going to go to someone who needs it more. And that's all I kept saying. It's going to go to whoever needs it more. Like, I've used it enough. It's got to go on and give someone else happiness. Then I met this person, and he's a good friend of mine. His name's Tony. And he told me about this day where he found a poncho at the festival, and he had given it to a naked girl by the creek. She was swimming naked and she lost her clothes and she was so cold, and he was like, so I gave her the poncho. And I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Now I know where it went and that it did help someone. I'm so happy. Wow. And to me, that's, kindness traveling. Once you release the ownership of something, it can be given to someone else, truly given to someone as a gift, as a helping tool. And that person probably needs it a lot more.
Amazing. Yes, yes. Now you brought something up that I didn't mention about kindness. It's like giving without getting something back, which is that is
Yeah,
unconditional love at the end. Okay.
absolutely.
So I love it, love it, love it. So my questions is a challenge. Is is there like an act of kindness you would like to do this week? Either that you haven't done it for a while or you want to start doing it? Something
You
different
know,
for me.
sometimes I like to pick flowers and, like, say before I get a bus or something, I'll give it to the bus driver. Just something little, just something
Like it.
small. I did that the other day when I was still living in Airlie Beach, and the bus driver, he was so happy. So I had this flower, it was a frangipani, and I handed it to him on the way out, and he was just so happy. He grabbed it like he was catching a ball. He was like, "Wah!" He grabbed it out of my hand. He was so happy to receive it. It was just a flower, and I just wanted him to know that he was appreciated. Sometimes just little things like that seems like very small and minuscule compared to some of the kind acts that humans in harder places or more poverty sort of stricken areas have to deal with.
Yes.
I believe if there's something that you have that you don't need, you can pass it on. I
Yes.
believe that if you can look around a room and see someone who might need to smile, you can go and find a way to make them smile, even if it's just a compliment, just telling them that they're
Yes.
important. I saw a homeless man the other day and I wrote him a note and I just wrote, "You're loved, you're awesome." That's it. Just little things. That's what makes the
Many.
world go round.
Okay, thank you so much for this multitude of ways of how to be kind. And I love the flower thing that you give to the bus driver. But is there something this week that yourself, not others, just you would like to
Mhm.
do? Something new or something that you haven't done for a while? Or it could be even a text, a message, a thank you, a sorry, or something, anything that you'd like to do?
For myself,
Yes, something, act of kindness.
acts of kindness. I love all different acts of kindness. I think this week I'm going to be kinder to myself. I've been reminding everybody to be kinder to themselves. And that's a direct reflection, me as well. And being able to see and reminding someone to do something for themselves and see myself in that as well, and see how I can practice what I preach at the best capacity so that when I speak about
Yes.
it, other people can be more empowered in that sense. So I think this week I'm going to try kinder to myself. Maybe I'll treat myself a little bit. I do love a massage. So I think I might go and get like a nice long reflexology massage that benefits my entire body. I love reflexology. I think it's probably the best massage ever. Reflexology for sure. It goes through the feet and all the other areas that the feet are connected to.
Nice.
Like, for example,
Great.
did you know that if you had a headache, you can rub the top of your big toe and the headache will disappear?
No,
Ah,
I
that's
didn't know that.
reflexology. It's like
Okay, I'll make sure try in case I have a headache. I'll try that. Nice, thank you. Maybe the next one we will talk about some specific treatment, specific healing. If you are up for it, maybe next time we meet. Okay, that would be great.
absolutely. I'm always
Something
down
like
for a chat with you.
yes,
I'm always
amazing.
down for a chat with you, Andrea. I love your vibe and I just love the energy that you bring to this world and this platform. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. And I love what you're doing, your mission, what you're doing for the world, what you're doing for yourself, for others. Incredible. So I hope the listener got excited and inspired as much as I did. And in case they can get you in on any other platforms like Facebook, Instagram, probably YouTube, LinkedIn, we will all write it. I will all put the links below the podcast. Thank you so much, Marika. It was such a pleasure to be here with you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Andrea. It's been awesome. Till next
Grazie.
time.
Take care.
Ciao now.